Welcome back to Album Review.
What's going on?
So this week we're doing one that you guys picked. Remember, if you want us to pick something or listen to something that you want us to listen to, comment down below. Could be whatever. If you want us to revisit an album for some reason, sure. As long as it's been a while since we've done it. We're not going to do stuff we just did.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this week you guys picked Sodom or Sodom. Not sure how it's pronounced, but it's another German thrash metal group. And you didn't suggest an album, so I just went with the one with the biggest hit, which is Agent Orange. I have no context other than it's another German thrash metal band. We did Kreator. I really liked their sound. These guys, a little similar, but a little different, too.
I don't think I was on the Kreator video, so this is like my first intro to any German thrash metal bands, pretty much. Thrash metal in general, I haven't listened to very much other than like the few Metallica albums, if you consider them.
Yeah, some of them weren't even really thrash ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we could just jump right into it.
Alright. So, there's 9 real tracks on this album, and then I think there's like 6 live tracks that we didn't include.
Yeah, we didn't count the live tracks. We're doing the original release from, I think, 1988 or 89?
I think 89.
Yeah, because on Spotify, for some reason, it says it's 2010, which is when the reissue came out, so I don't know why they went with that, but okay.
Yeah. But the first track is the title track, Agent Orange.
This is the big hit this is their biggest hit. I think it's a good track. I think it's pretty solid, very thrashy.
Yeah.
They have like an interesting inflection, which I guess is more of the German side of it, which I'm not used to with other thrash metal groups of this time, obviously. Because Kreator had more of an English sound, but you could tell they were like German. This one is a lot more pronounced.
Yeah, strong accent, yeah. But yeah, that was mainly what I thought too. It was pretty good right from the start, like catchy guitar riffs. And
yeah.
Pretty cool sound. It's just that vocal style is like something that it took me a minute to get used to.
Yeah, I see you're still getting into like the more growly, aggressive vocals of thrash.
Yeah. It's not a genre that I really visit on my own very often. So
yeah, I can see that.
But
yeah, title track really good.
Yeah, I like this one, and it did have like a portion in the middle where the tempo kind of slowed down to like half speed before speeding back up, and that was pretty cool. I thought.
Nice stop and go moments throughout this album too.
Yeah, definitely. Next track is Tired and Red.
This is another really good one.
Yeah, I really like this one, actually. I didn't love the sound of the hook on this one.
Yeah, me neither.
But apart from that, everything else sounded pretty cool. I really liked the acoustic guitar part.
Yeah.
That sounded almost like Fade to Black, kind of.
Yeah, I'm sure they were inspired by that, too.
That's what I was thinking when I heard it.
Because Fade to Black was like the first real metal song to have an intro like that.
Okay. The next track is Incest.
This one's weird. I don't know. Maybe there's some context I'm missing behind it, but this was probably my least favorite.
I definitely agree, but I mean...
It wasn't awful, I'll say that.
Yeah, it's still, the sound wasn't terrible, but the lyrics were just very strange, as you could guess from the title.
Yeah, very fucking weird stuff in here.
And I thought it was, maybe a little bit more boring musically, too, than the first 2 tracks.
I could see that. Not very memorable. Not many standout moments, lyric or musically, I'd say.
The next track's Remember the Fallen.
This one is probably another one of my favorites. This one's really fire.
This one was good. It actually had, a bouncy, kind of fast-paced groove to it with the guitar and the drums on it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was interesting, themes, I thought, because they were basically... They were giving off, very anti-war, ideology, pretty much. But at the same time, still paying respect to, soldiers that are fighting for their country. So it was interesting, way of looking at it that you don't hear people talk about it very often.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that metal, a lot of those artists explores, anti-war stuff, which you might be surprised considering the content they're usually saying about you. But a lot of these guys are very, anti-war.
Yeah. That was my exact thought. It was I wouldn't expect to hear these kind of ideas from a thrash metal album.
Yeah, there's plenty of albums like that. Metallica has a lot of stuff like that in their albums, especially Master of Puppets. If we ever do that album one day,
I'd have to do that one for sure.
That's a highly recommend. I'll say. What's the next track?
Next track is Magic Dragon.
This one's funny, but I really like this one too.
Yeah, I like this one too. Actually, it was another one talking about the topic of war and stuff like that. And this one was kind of being, I guess, satirical in a way, because it was talking about all the imagery of the weapons of this gunship that it was describing and the violence that it can cause, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's definitely coming from a this is reckless violence for no reason kind of thing.
Yeah, and this band was coming out, at the end of the Cold War, so they had a lot of stuff on their plates.
Yeah.
Especially if they came from, I'm not sure which part of Germany they hail from, but if it's from, I'm sure it's Western Germany, but they had to deal with, you know, the reunification.
Mm-hmm. And an interesting thing I looked up, I heard them say AC-47, which I assumed was some kind of ship, like gunship, but I looked it up, and the reason it's called Magic Dragon is because that was a ship from the Vietnam War that the U.S. used, and the nickname was Puff the Magic Dragon.
Ah, okay.
So that was a little interesting tidbit.
Nice Easter egg thrown in there.
Yeah. Next track's Exhibition Bout.
This one's okay.
Yeah, this one didn't sound necessarily interesting, but I thought like the lyrics were a little more interesting than anything else.
I could see that, yeah.
This was another one where they're just giving off like cool ideas, and this one was basically about against like animal cruelty and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Which was interesting. It was like about bullfighting and basically the same kind of idea, how it's reckless violence, like for no reason.
Yeah.
The next track, I don't exactly know how to say it. I forget already. Alskabomb.
Yeah, Alskabomb, I think it's something like that. This one's also okay. I'd say it's better than the last one.
Yeah, a little better than the last one, but not one of the more special tracks on the whole album, I'd say.
Yeah.
But the translation apparently is bombed out in English, so
yeah,
that makes sense. The next track's Baptism of Fire.
This is another really good one.
Yeah, this one was pretty good. I thought the drummer was really going through it on this one.
Yeah, and especially like them and the guitars. Like, this is such a fast album. Like, this is one of the faster albums we've done on this show.
Okay, I could see
like,
that. Definitely.
Like, lots of speedy guitar. Like, it's almost like speed metal at times, but just, you know, a little bit of a different sound.
Yeah.
That grungier, dark sound that thrash is known for.
And I thought the guitar solo, like, leading up to the end of this one was really cool, too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final track is Don't Walk Away cover version.
Yeah, I like this song. I'm not sure what it's a cover of. Forgot to do my research on that one, but...
I actually looked it up, so...
Oh, okay.
But it's apparently a cover of a British heavy metal band from the 80s called Tank.
Oh, wait, no, I did... Yes, I did look it up. I just forgot their name.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar.
They have, like, basically no streams on Spotify, so I don't know if maybe they were just big...
They were probably big at the
Britain back
time.
then and not really now in the streaming age.
Yeah, probably not.
But yeah, that was interesting. That one sounded very different than the rest of the tracks. You could tell it was more influenced from like a typical heavy metal sound than thrash metal. So.
Yeah, it's definitely the softest song on the album, and I like it. It's just not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So, today, final thoughts. You want to go first?
Yeah, for me, for a thrash metal album, I enjoyed it more than I was expecting to, because it's something that it's not super easy for me to listen to at first. Like, I have to give it some time sometimes to digest. But yeah, no, it was a pretty quick listen, and there were maybe only a track or two that I really didn't enjoy that much.
Same here.
But the rest of them, yeah, it was pretty impressive for the 89. I mean, that's still kind of early in like the thrash metal.
Thrash metal was like, it was peaking right around then. I'd say like all the great albums were out at this point, but it's before like Metallica and Megadeth and all them would go mainstream. It's definitely one of the rawest thrash metal albums I've listened to from this time too. And yeah, I think it's great. I really have no complaints about it. It's not my favorite from this era, but I recommend listening to more stuff from this era. If thrash is starting to become somewhat of an interest to you, like this is something that's a little off the beaten path that I think people should listen to.
Yeah, definitely. It's not something that, not even a band that I've ever heard of, so it was a cool suggestion.
Yeah, I thought I didn't know them, but I saw their logo and we looked at the cover. I'm like, oh, I know these guys. Yeah. Like, I've heard of them. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much all I had before going into this. So, let's go to scores.
Alright. I guess I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Alright. I was going to give it an 8.
Alright.
So, yeah, pretty good album. Highly recommend it.
For sure.
So what have you got for us this week?
So, I think I'm just going to go with a fairly recent album that I listened to for the first time the other day.
Okay.
And I think it might be interesting to some viewers. So, I'm going to do Getting Killed by Geese from last year, at the end of last year.
Okay. Yeah, Geese, another group I've heard a lot about recently, just have not listened to them much.
Yeah, it's interesting first listen for me too, so...
All right. Tune in next week where we look at Geese.